Alright, today we were supposed to go out for a little family boating adventure. When we got to the launch, we found that the engine wasn't running right. Most likely due to the carburetors being a little gunked up from sitting for so long. So we stopped at the auto parts store, picked up some carb cleaner. Notice I have 1 bottle of spray and 2 bottles of just the liquid that I'm going to run through the motor. Now, first thing we need to do is hook up our little ears to the motor so that we can run it in the driveway. Alright, so we have our ears hooked up with the water running. Just want to make sure that they're over the intakes correctly. Make sure that water can be pumped into the engine. Alright. Now we're going to remove the cap on the engine. Carburetors are here in the front. So I'm going to take off this air breather and then we'll be able to get some of the carb cleaner in there. Try to free up the needle valves and get the other. There's 6 carburetors on this 6-cylinder boat motor, so some of them are working right and a couple of them must be stuck from sitting, so we're going to try to get them free. On this particular motor at Johnson and some Evinrudes, the air muffler is held on by rubber bungees. So we're going to reach in here with a pair of needle nose pliers, grab the last bungee. It's off now. And then this should just remove. Notice there's a hose here on at the bottom. We'll pull that off. Maybe. Alright. So we'll remove that. Now we can see these are the intakes to the carb. There's some drain screws, and we can access some other things we'll see in a minute to clear it out. Okay, so my plan here is I'm going to use the spray carb cleaner to spray into the carbs and into the little openings to kind of clean it out. And then I'm going to run a mixture of the carb cleaner in the from the small container. This is a 2-gallon jug and I put about a gallon in it. Now normally you would use one container like this with about 16 gallons of fuel, but we are going to really concentrate it. So, oh, I'm sorry, up to 21 gallons. So we're going to really concentrate and put that whole container into 1 gallon and let the motor run until it runs out. And then I have a second one to do it again. But first we're going to try the spray and get the motor just running in the driveway. Alright, here's where it gets a little difficult. You'll have to have some way to suck out fuel of the portable container if you want to do it this way. Conveniently for me, I have a little selector valve that selects between the main tank on the boat, and then I have a portable fuel tank hookup right here. I use that when I go offshore fishing, so I can run off of portable tanks first and then switch to the main tank and extend my range. But we're going to remove this and put just a blank piece of hose on there, and then we'll be able to suck out of this to get that good carb cleaner running through these carbs and clean them all up. Alright, so this essentially will be our setup. First I'm going to get the motor running off of the main tank, and then I'm going to switch over to this carb cleaner mixture of fuel. Alright, see, therein lies our problem. is that it won't stay running. It's only running on a couple of carbs. So let me get in there and spray it first, and then we'll try to restart in a minute. Alright, so most people would just spray carburetor cleaner into here. But all you're really cleaning there is the air intake. It's not really doing any good. On this particular carburetor, they have these little one-way valve ports right here, and it's perfect size for this string, and when you shoot it, it actually sends the carburetor cleaner through the carb down into the bowl. And there's one on every carburetor. Truthfully, I'm not even sure that this is what it's for, but I've done this in the past with great success. So I'm going to go ahead and continue and get all the carbs, let them sit for a little while, and then we'll try to crank it again. Alright, so I sprayed into the carbs a little bit. See, it's running rough. It's now running off of the side tank with the carb cleaner. I switched my valve. Got a little valve, main tank, auxiliary tank, and off. It's now running off of the auxiliary. Hopefully after running a little while it'll clear up. Now it's going to run rough with the carb cleaner because the carb cleaner is not quite as explosive as the fuel. Alright, there's already a noticeable improvement on how it's running. I put a second can of the carb cleaner into the original gallon that I had. I'm going to let that continue to run through, but it's definitely running better already. And the main lesson here is make sure you start your engine every 1 to 2 weeks and run it for a couple minutes. Don't let it sit. The cover back on because we're finished with everything with the engine. We're just running the rest of the carb cleaner out from the gallon that we mixed it in. On there, and as you can tell, I went in and took this opportunity to grease up those grease fittings too. Now when you saw me rev the engine earlier, just for safety concerns, I want you to realize I did not have the engine in gear, so the prop was not spinning. On most boats, there's some type of release somewhere. In this case, mine is located right here. When I push this button and then move the throttle, all I'm moving is the throttle. So we're not in gear. The prop is not spinning, which enables me to rev the engine without spinning the prop. And that sounds a lot better than what we started with before. And on the restart, alright, we're going to let it run down until it runs out of fuel. Still running on our carb cleaner mixture. And then we're going to switch back over to the main tank. And we'll be ready for some fun on the water tomorrow. Alright, motor just killed because I ran out of gas, so now I'm gonna remove my makeshift hose right here. Yes, I can. Alright. Alright, so as I said before, I had this hose. And this is my auxiliary tank hookup that I use for extending the boat's range. So I'm going to rehook that up. And obviously you probably wouldn't have a setup like this. But you might have been able to undo it from your bulb. Or maybe from your fuel filter or something to allow the feed in of the carb cleaner mixture. Done. We'll put everything back down into the bilge. We'll switch this to main tank. That's gonna disappear. And I do have to pump. I have my pump ball down here hidden because I don't like it out on top. So I'm gonna pump that real quick, and then we'll try to restart the engine. Yeah, I know it's not much of a view, but I have to bend down to get to it. Alright, I'm pumping the ball. Slowly getting harder. And since the engine ran out of fuel, all the bowls and the carbs are empty, so it's taking a while to pump them up. Alright. It's good and tight. Alright, now we're going to run it off the main tank. Should fire right up. Let's see what happens. Alright, looks good. So tomorrow, okay, that's not good. Let's try to prime up the balls again. I think because we ran out of fuel, there's a buildup of two-stroke oil in the carb. You understand a little bit about how they work. They're pumping in two-stroke oil with the fuel, so if you're running out of fuel, you're still pumping in two-stroke oil. So there was a buildup of oil that had to burn out. And that's why we're also seeing a little bit more smoke right now. Alright, I'm gonna let it run for a couple minutes to make sure we're good. And tomorrow we'll be trying out our new crab nets that we didn't get a chance to try out today.